I am Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to Gamekeeper Podcast. If you want to learn more about farming for wildlife and habitat management, then, buddy, you are in the right place. Join the Gamekeeper crew direct from Mossy Oak Land Enhancement Studio as they discuss the latest wildlife and habitat management practices, news, and, of course, hunting. There's no telling what you'll learn, but I'm going to tell you, I bet it's interesting. Enjoy.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody.
I can't believe we've been going all this time and we've not been forthcoming with people
About being live.
That's right.
Yeah,
We say we're live.
recording.
yeah, we are recording. 1, 2, 3. We're recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just to let everybody know the mics are hot.
It's live, isn't it?
It is live.
It is
Lanny.
live.
I
Does that make it
I
better?
think it's just to
We're
make-
live in 3,
I think
2,
just so
1.
they feel like, sure enough, like Hollywood producers.
Yeah.
We need one of those things that you know, what is that
The
called?
clapper.
Yeah.
The clapper take
The
one.
clipboard
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd work.
No, we don't need
No, we
that.
don't need
We
that.
don't need anything
We
else.
are digressing.
Yeah, very much. So, guys, we've been putting the idea of a podcast together for several weeks. And I'm so excited to look across the room. And we've got Chief Cyrus Ben.
In the house.
We are so excited. You're of the Choctaw Nation. Have I got that right?
We're the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians.
Yeah. We are
Band.
so excited
Wow.
to have you here.
Yes.
That's great.
And
That's great.
we've got a lot of questions.
Who knows? I might hit you up with some too.
So we traveled up here. Lanny's got this black SUV. The
It looks straight official.
and
There's
the,
no
and
doubt
the
about
license
that.
plate said
One.
on the back of it. So is there a 2? Somebody's got a 2?
He does the job. There's a chief of staff.
Okay, so we're looking over in the couch.
Jason's number 2.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, look, we want to go down the road of learning a lot of things. We've got a lot of questions, and we just appreciate your patience here as we ask. And you know, when we think about gamekeepers, the original gamekeepers.
Yeah, hunting,
Native
game
American.
keeping, every bit of it. You know, the connection to nature, exemplified
100%.
Yes.
by that. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Now, my understanding is you just recently came back from out west to Colorado and had a real successful elk hunt.
Did very well and brought home some groceries.
That's what I'm talking about.
We've occupied some space in the freezer, so we're going to eat well.
Yeah, that's a lot of meat.
Definitely. Great. I love the venison. Even in our home, very, very few times do we ever buy beef. All of our venison is used for everything from your burgers, steaks, spaghettis, chilies,
Awesome.
name it. And it's prepared.
Well, you get an elk early, it kind of puts you ahead of the game on stocking the freezer. So
I'm telling you, most of all, the hunt is to be able to go out there and see God's creation, the landscape
Amen.
out there. Of course, always being able to take one home is is icing on the cake.
Yes.
But definitely last year was the first opportunity for us to go out and enjoy. And I was able to get my first elk last year, and so that was number 2 this year. So,
Changed you forever, didn't it?
oh, I'm telling you,
yeah,
it's definitely a life-changing experience.
Were the
the
bulls
smells, everything.
were they bugling when you were out there?
No, in the area we are, it's right after post rut, so they're still smelly.
You should make a
probably
point of
takes a
going
while.
out during the bugling because it's a otherworld experience. It's amazing.
Were y'all also hunting mule deer at that time?
It is elk and mule deer season. So I got a mule deer last year. This year I didn't, but Jason was able to bag a very nice mule deer. So he got his first bull elk because he was unable to get one last year. So it was his first time. So he got the best of both worlds on this trip.
So to speed things along, just so you know, Bobby's actually interrogating you, and he's going to in a minute. He's going to get to. Do they have turkeys out there? It's coming, so I just want to let you know ahead of time. He's going to ask about that.
Yeah. So I can't hide that. At some point, I will probably ask. But we all love turkey hunting.
Oh my
for
gosh.
sure. So that kind of brings us back to Mississippi. What is it? What do you like to do here in Mississippi, hunting wise?
Basically, big game. I used to love the small game, just more of time with the job and responsibilities. Does not give me quite as much time to get out there. But being a young child, but again, we're the first inhabitants of the land. Lived off the land. Very appreciative of what the Creator provided for us, whether if it was fishing, farming, planting, and then of course hunting as well. And to be able to be a conservationist, a sportsman, take care of the land, and in the end, the land also gives back to us.
So,
yeah, that's some OGK stuff.
At
is
lunch, you
OGK.
were talking about, doing some greenfield action. Do you enjoy the preface to the hunt just as much as the hunt?
Just like probably many of us in the room, who doesn't like to just get on a tractor and just have
Therapy.
have that therapeutic moment?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Tractor time.
That's kind of how the gamekeeper thing came to be. Is we realized that we like doing all the work just as much, if not more, than doing the hunting.
Yeah, it's a
100%.
12-month out of the year job. So to
Yeah,
speak.
and it compounds the reward of the harvest too.
I go back to one of the ad campaigns we had. It was interspersing some stuff. Laney was in marketing department then, probably
when I was doing
25 years ago.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
And it was Bob Dixon sitting on the back of a four-wheeler, and it said at Mossy Oak we have 2 seasons. And that's the first ad I've ever seen, ever.
That's
by
the first
anybody.
gamekeeper ad.
That's
in my
right. He
opinion.
said there's hunting season and there's getting ready for hunting season. He had a bag of biologic in his hand.
Imagine that.
First year we launched it.
So let's start with how do you become the chief?
It's democratically elected. And so I'm actually, from the years of leadership prior to me, my predecessors, I'm actually the 5th elected tribal chief of the tribe.
Wow.
And, many times I walk into a room and they misinterpret. They think I'm chief of police or something because I do have some gray hair.
Yeah.
Don't have enough sometimes to meet the prototype. And so, but no, at the age of 40, I was elected the tribal chief of Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. I take great pride in it. One, I'm being a member. You always had that great pride of just being who we are. And then now you be able to have the trust of the people to step into that role in leadership that you can't imagine you being in that role until the day actually happens. And it's surreal.
Yeah.
Then of course we've hit the ground running. A lot of learning, a lot of achievements, and still a lot more work to do.
Are you pulled in a lot of directions every day?
Slightly.
And his phone was going nuts at lunch.
Yeah.
And you were explaining earlier that one question might be something about finances, and then another question may be something like some kids broke out in a fight at school, or it goes in every direction.
We are a little over 11,000 members, in which majority of our members, we do have people that live afar away from our tribal lands, but we have a high population density here in central Mississippi. And so we intermingle a lot. So like you said, you see every facet of community life and relations. And so you have the good, bad, and, like any job, you have the ugly too.
Have y'all already asked generally speaking, what area you call home or encompass boundary-wise?
Most of our around 36,000 acres is encompassed there in central Mississippi.
Okay.
We are in multiple counties there. On the farthest north and here in Mississippi is in Winston County.
Right.
We have our Crystal Ridge community. And then in Neshoba County, we've got 3 communities. We've got Pearl River, Tucker, and Bokchito. In Newton County, we've got Coinahata. Over in Leake County,
Wow.
we've got Redwater and Standing Pine.
Wow.
And in Jones County, we've got Bohoma.
So it's long, or is it's separated by 2 different?
It's almost like looking at a checkerboard.
Wow.
So I should say, and I meant to start off with this, but November is Native American Heritage Month. We didn't know this; it just worked out this way. But can you speak to that just a little bit?
Well, he was in little Dudley's classroom last week talking about it.
Just a few days ago, I was just south of you guys over in the city of Starkville at Armstrong Middle School. And so I got to speak to the 8th grade class there, share a little bit. The princess joined us. Princess is a pageant style selection. And so she serves as an ambassador. So she does a great job. She's traveled many miles already for us, been as far north. We do, Tasha, we do have some land also in West Tennessee, about an hour north of Memphis in the city of Henning, Tennessee. And so she was up there speaking at a school, some students. She's also been at Keesler's Air Force Base last week, so she's covered some miles for us. But we want to share our story. Many times, many of us born and raised here in Mississippi, but yet alone we don't realize how rich of history and culture and tradition is around us. You know, talking about Native American heritage and history, we talked about it. You go back in historical days before treaties, before the 1700s and 1800s, all of this land that we're sitting upon right here in this room, the land underneath us at one time was Indian territory. And so,
Where was there a capital back in the day, or was centrally located? Biggest city, or
there was, of course, there was no city, but there's territorial areas,
settlements, I guess,
and settlement. But most of it, of course, where we centralized and once the federal recognition,
right?
It's really hard to say because had the different families that encamped wherever it might have been,
Right, sure.
and so there's no documentation of that. But we use our mounds. When you go to the areas where mounds are, that's indicative of where the saturation.
Yeah, because there's just a lot around here. I was just curious because all my life I've heard that this whole area, not far from here, and I don't know how it lays, but was so rich with history and artifacts and stuff because it was the boundary of Chickasaw, Choctaw,
That's correct.
through here somewhere. And so I'd always heard that.
Just north of here, or just north of Columbus, is where the boundaries were, a separation of the Choctaw and Chickasaw territory. One of the final treaties that signed away our lands to the U.S. government was the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, and that part of that treaty was the soil up underneath us today in this office.
Wow. That's pretty appropriate in a way.
Wow.
It's just you had so many mixed feelings when you hear about that.
And it to me, as a tribal member, to me, it's just a testimony that we hold and embraced. That there was a lot of adversity, overcome. History can be very colorful. Sometimes it can be very painful to read.
Yes.
And in reality, but at the same token, I'm very grateful for the generations before me that set it into us, ingrained it into us. That here we are, continuing to go and overcome and be successful where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you for all of us here, I can't speak for the world. I think for just about anybody that's following us, though, just the thought of you and your people and your ancestry. It's all one and the same with us now, which is cool. But it just, we have such a deep reverence and respect for that, and there's such a cool commonality of our existence. Our evangelism is caring for what God gave us here, and you call it conservation or whatever you want to call it. That's just a label. But there's that connection to the earth. And honestly, from whatever I've learned, there's nobody in just about the whole earth that had a deeper connection and reverence for the earth and caring for it than you and your ancestors.
Yes.
So it's, I feel, I don't know how to put it into words when you start talking about, we talk about gamekeeping day, and then we have these products to sell and stuff like that. But the true essence of it is, living on and with, in whatever symbiosis with the land, I guess is the word.
Yeah. No, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just had to say that because it brings out so many good, warm feelings. There's some regrets and stuff about history, but we weren't there, and all we can do is live in the moment. But just as a Mississippian, been really proud to see what all of y'all have done and the progress, and the way that I feel like at least our state today has put an enormous amount of respect.
And we've been very grateful for that. Neighboring cities, Starkville schools, that's allowed us to come and tell the story. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State University coming in and allowing us. Of course, we're partnered as well with some sponsorship through Pearl River Resort.
Yeah.
So we're very grateful for that opportunity and have that relationship, but acknowledging our students. We've got over 80 plus students that through our enterprises and revenue that we've created, that we have created a scholarship program that allows our students, and now it's non-traditional. You have adults too. So any tribal member that wants to go get higher education can go to wherever to be able to get their advanced education.
That's
and
awesome.
And so we've got students at Mississippi State University or USM or Ole Miss or all the JUCOs throughout the state. I think we've had over nearly 75, 80 student athletes out there playing collegiate level sports in some capacity throughout the U.S. And so, I think in our footprint, and we talked about how a lot of this land was, and the footprint of it, but being good neighbors, you go back in history, the history don't always, the curriculum don't always write it the same way, but, Columbus crashed and our native ancestors embraced him to come, hey, hello to America. And the advances that we've made, as you stated, Tossie, you can sit and dwell upon it, whatever you want. You can have a mindset of being oppressed, or you can get off your tail and work hard and be successful for whatever it is. And, that's what we're very grateful of.
Man, what a great example that is. I wish for everybody everywhere with hardship. I mean, we should have a heart for that. Of course, at the end of the day, like Mr. Fox always had taught me, it's like, son, the most important degree you'll ever get is the School of Hard Knocks. If you don't, if you're not bitter about it, if you're not playing like the victim or doing whatever, if you rise up with honor like they have, then you're stronger and better because of it.
Yeah, I love his attitude.
Oh my gosh, it's so exemplary. I don't honestly, I don't have the words, honestly, to honor it.
So let me circle back. This 36,000 acres. Do you guys manage the wildlife on it differently than the rest of than the state of Mississippi manages, or do y'all work with the state of Mississippi?
Very similar. We do work with the wildlife biologists and even the Mississippi Department of Wildlife and Parks officials in our area. Just a couple weeks ago, we had some of our members that went and done their hunter education, and so we want to take safety first as well. But at the same token, be able to continue to showing the next generation of understanding what, we push our culture and traditions, but understanding also that culture and tradition is not always about just clothing, attire, or native sport or native social dancing and stuff, but it's also living off the land. Being able to take a white-tailed deer and feed your family. But in return, we didn't just go throw that hide and onto the side of the road or into a ditch. No, we kept that hide and we go and tan it and use it to make drums, to make strings for our stickball, or to tie your sticks. So we're utilizing the full component of the outdoors.
40 years or so watching the hunting industry, we've kind of come full circle. And I remember the thing I've pointed out before is that from, being a kid and rabbit and squirrel and duck and everything to, I love deer hunting and turkey hunting, obviously took to me right away. But then we just kind of got to the point, say in the 90s, Laney was there, Bobby 100%. Was there. And the trophy hunting just kind of took everything over. And like I keep saying, I it took me over too. I'm not pointing fingers. I love it. But I kept saying, as a community of people, hunters, we're eating our own young here. We're not, the kids weren't even, the numbers are going down, down, down. And kids, they couldn't measure up to that, so they didn't go deer hunting. And finally, I think the dawn of the shooting house, and then, they could be more comfortable out there going, and that got, the rite of passage changed to that. But what I was getting today and telling you, because we are in the middle of the hunting industry, you may know this or not, and Lanny can speak to it, because he was kind of a pioneer here, Daniel, Dudley, all of them. But we've evolved to being the tip of the spear is no longer like the trophy guy. That's a big following. It's the gamekeeper, and not just the gamekeeper, it's that hunter-gatherer mentality, almost spirituality.
Right.
That is becoming more and more and more popular and looked up to. And it gives me chill bumps seeing that kind of evolution of our group of people, call them hunters, and I hate to categorize people anyway. So that long story was just to say how we've evolved. And today, that's really the coolest thing you can aspire to now, even over being killing a big trophy.
And that was directly influenced
100%.
by the native culture.
100%.
As a young child, that's how I envisioned myself.
It is so popular and in vogue to have that mentality now. And that's one thing about in the world we live in, just like you talked about, there's no better, free-ranging, grass-fed, organic.
Yep.
Y'all notice that he left me out of that
Well, it's okay. Somebody's got to be the trophy guy, Bobby.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got to be infatuated with
you
horns.
got your buck already.
Yeah.
I bet you knew when I said trophy guy.
Hey, he did.
Chief, what do you think about this thing right here? That's Hercules. Meet Hercules.
This Bobby's pride and joy.
Got to get you excited.
Well,
He's like Cuz. He wants to know how much hamburger you get out of it.
and if it was on my wall, it'd be my pride and joy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but no, you talked about it. I mean, it's a joy to me myself. And growing up, knowing my father would talk about it, they would be just ecstatic to see a 4-point deer run through the woods. And in today's era, to be able to, as you said, to be able to provide that shooting house environment that then my elder father can go sit and the joy to see him should he be able to bag one.
Yes.
And, but then also to see the children today. And I'm excited amongst our tribal youth. The popularity is growing, and just again, there's many that that may not be able to hunt, but the people that are out there hunting will provide meat for them. Yeah. And just a joy, whether it's my dad or just seeing a youth or just a first time hunter, to be able to just go out there and just enjoy the outdoors. Sometimes they may not kill it, so how many stories have we told about who missed? How many shots, So
Bobby had his shirt tail cut off about a week
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Yeah, I didn't miss.
He missed so bad. He didn't take
a
the shot, so they cut his tail.
Oh, so I've exposed the story. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we didn't need to expose that story.
Fangs knives out.
So on this 36,000 acres.
Here we go. Turkeys again. Here we go.
Do the seasons coincide with Mississippi? Do the local game wardens patrol y'all's areas?
No, we have our own wildlife and game officials, and we write our own proclamation. It's very similar. The wildlife, the deer season, whitetail deer season does vary. We do open a little bit sooner. We do close a little later. This only thing that probably creates a little riffle for some landowners, it might be our dog hunting seasons. The state closes on a Wednesday. We are at work.
Yeah.
So we close on Sunday.
Yeah.
We're gonna get our weekend. No, that being said, we are a sovereign nation. Our government, we're able to create our own fish and game laws, exception for the migratory birds. Other birds or waterfowl, we do stay in line with the federal regulations seasons there. And so in the duck seasons that the state of Mississippi adopts, we stay in line with them. We also adopted the pink vest. So how many of you don't in the pink?
Dudley wears pink.
yeah.
All the
Safety
time.
pink.
Yeah.
So look,
So we can wear pink in Mississippi now.
We can now?
Yeah.
All right.
so Dudley's been
Pink.
celebrating
Bobby's
that,
been
so.
asking about that. Hey guys, listen up. Let me tell you about an awesome deal Springfield Armory is offering now through the end of 2024. When you purchase a brand new model 2020 Waypoint or Redline rifle, you'll receive a model 2020 rimfire rifle with a black synthetic stock absolutely free. That's an over $400 value on the house. You know we love Springfield Armory and their top-notch products you'd be proud to hand down to your kids and grandkids. So why wait? Learn more about this incredible offer at GearUp2024.com. Springfield Armory. Defend your legacy.
See these people? When the clock strikes 5, it's not the end. It's just the beginning. They have to do these things. They have to do those things. Enter the all-new LS Tractor MT2 and MT2E, a relentless force of innovation. Redesigned with a new hood and cab built for comfort and visibility, with enhanced lifting capacity to get the job done. Making these people the ones everyone else calls those people. Visit your local LS Tractor dealer today.
So look, let me ask this. Let's kind of go back in time a few hundred years. And from time to time, we all find what we call an arrowhead. Is that an arrowhead or was that on an can you explain, how did they hunt? And I'm really speaking like to deer. I'd love to learn this.
Yeah.
I've heard about atlatls, but we just always assume arrows. And Can we just talk about the cultural importance and significance of all that?
Yeah, traditional just recurve bows were hand carved and for the big game. And so that's where you find a lot of the arrowheads was used for that. But as far as small game hunting, we use the blowguns, which is the river cane, and not your bamboo. You know, some people drive by side of the road. Oh man, I found you plenty of cane.
And it's that
and it's
that
bamboo.
Asian bamboo, invasive.
So, the difference, the key difference that you can find is the bamboo joints are very narrow, 4 to 6 inches, where the river cane is more 10 to 12 inches. And so that being said, we'd use those and create handmade darts, and to be able to go hunt squirrels and rabbits and other small game, possibly even fish or whatever that was utilized. But
Wow.
I never knew that.
I didn't either.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Very
I have a friend who's an archaeologist for the Chickasaws, and he was telling me there was a grad student years ago at Mississippi State who was collecting different types of river cane, you know, same genus, Arundinaria, but, you know, they're a clone. So he was taking samples of this river cane for different traits. And over at the Arboretum at South Farm, that study is still there.
Wow.
And so it's all different types of river cane, but
Wow.
no bamboo. It's all the native stuff.
and you talking about that, they work with our tribe as well.
I think so,
They came
yeah.
in and planted, and that was before my term in the tribal chief's office.
I think there's been a lot of replanting of river. Talking to our friends at Roundstone a couple
Round-
years
they're
ago, there was a
definitely
big
planting river cane.
Yeah,
a
and
big demand for
I
river
think
cane.
that student worked with them as
Yeah.
well.
That is correct. So, you know, we're very appreciative of the steps being done by public universities to work with us. And not only that, it establishes what was natural growth for all of us and what wild game is, you know, what wild game could utilize for.
Are there still members that are crafting blowguns?
Very few.
Yeah.
And actually, my father was one of them that
Wow.
was an artisan of that. And
Wow.
actually, I take a little pride in it.
Yeah.
You go into our cultural center, and the one that's displayed inside there that my father made himself. So,
Wow.
Wow.
I need to take a lesson.
Yeah.
I need to take a couple
Yeah.
of lessons.
Absolutely.
We've talked about the ancient, spear chucker, the atlatl, which I think that's just thousands of years old, and then bows are more like 4, 5, 6, they came in later.
Right.
But the blowgun is fascinating. I
is
guess I've
fascinating.
never really heard about that.
What did the dart look like? I'm gonna get stuck on this blowgun.
It just as you would use it as your kebab stick. You'd carve it down to a small,
Right. Right.
and then what was used, you find it. Most people find it as annoyed weeds that grow under property as thistles.
Yeah.
You've probably seen them in the middle of the highways and medians.
Oh yeah.
And so basically, you would take that thistle before it blows up and dry it out. And then inside of it is a real fine fiber, and that you can just twine it around and around, and that bit creates your dart.
Wow.
I
pretty
feel a
amazing.
new, I feel
So,
a new hobby
yeah.
coming on.
I know it.
Yeah, and everybody, I hear the buzzwords with people that find stuff aren't usually accurate, because I think I've had archaeologists was here talking about what we called an arrowhead. It wasn't necessarily an arrowhead either, but they called them bird points when they were really, really small. Would that be what they used there, or was that?
Yeah, whether if it was shooting birds or small game, whatever it was utilized.
Little
for.
bitty ones.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So talk to us just for a second while we're at this juncture. So if I'm at my hunting club and there's a plowed field and I look down and I see an arrowhead, I might pick it up, and generally the first thought that goes through your mind is, the last person that touched this, however long ago that was. Let me go inside your mind. If you were there and you saw that artifact and you picked it up, how do you what goes through your mind?
It's been a while, so that I've found. I mean, there were some lands there in the Pearl River community where I'm born and raised, and I've come across. But now, that area where I was able to find some of those old arrowheads has been overtaken by pine tree plantations. And so, at that time, so I can only reflect back at that moment when I was able to find them, is exactly what you stated, is how long ago that was my ancestry. That'd be like some heirloom being passed down to you. Yes. That you're given. If it's a an old gun that grandfather had. So your mind starts revolving on, how many hunts, how much game did he provide, how many times was it putting food on the table for the family, and, just that how can I say, it's a self gratification type moment of just being able to allow your imagination and try to capture what rich history was inside it. And so, I mean, we talked about the treaties and much of the lands, so, it's very hard for us as a tribe to be able to go and find all of these artifacts because of private land ownership now. The only thing some protection that has been established from a federal standpoint is NAGPRA, Native American Graves Repatriation Act, that should there be any areas that is cited of finding any that seems to be some type of grave, then you have to identify that to a federal agency so that proper actions can be taken upon that land before further development.
Yeah, everything I've been a part of or known about, whatever, in the last 20 years development-wise, that's one of the things. They had to have an archaeological study.
Cultural study, yeah.
They have to go in and do. And actually, they'll come in and sample some things just to, if there was something here, it would be there and there and there on top of looking at the archives. Mm-hmm. So you have to pass that standard, we should.
100% should.
So if there are good Samaritans out there that are recognizing the importance of these artifacts that wanted to provide them back to you guys, do y'all have a way that they can do that?
We would love that. I mean, again, we want to be respectful. I understand we don't want to come and take ownership. We're not here to manage anyone's private property, but we don't have that access to be able to go collect it. And if any good Samaritan out there would you ever want to share findings and contact us, we would be honored that you would reach out to us. That we would love to put it inside our collection, in our cultural center, and use it in a way, to be able to give that to future generations. A few generations later, I might not be here, but that current generation will be able to have that, and that's something we don't. I'm just being honest with ourselves, and could we always room for improvement?
Yes.
We live by that motto. There's always room for improvement, and same way for the tribe. I wish we could have documented and being able to capture that, and that's a personal initiative of mine in this position as a tribal chief and a leader is an opportunity that comes before us, getting lands that can come back to us in any way. That is one of the top agendas, for me. But again, yes, I mean, the listeners out there, if there's anything that we can be of resource to you, or if there's findings of anything that might have been from our ancestry, please reach out to us. We would never say no to anyone that would want to donate to us.
Yeah, that's a good cause.
That. The thing listening to him makes me change to be sure about something. I've kind of been there before and picked it up and thought about it some, but I've not been one of those that actually actively went and searched. I know a lot of people that do. I mean, They are passionate about it. Jeff Foxworthy is huge, loves doing it, but there's a lot of people. I'm going to make sure, and after spending time with you today, that I am even more, because the word that keeps it in my mind is a mindfulness. When you touch something like that, just the first gift we could give them is to have a mindfulness and gratitude. When you think back in that moment to someone else, I mean, we'll never understand the connectivity, but you have to be of that kind of humble mindset about it first. But to stop and pause, and I think that would be very, very, very important. Instead of just like whatever, on to the next one. Let me find another one. I think that's something I'm going to be very mindful of from now on.
Yeah. Dudley, what you got?
Well, I was going to steal one of Bobby's normal questions, and I want to ask you about your first experience with a white-tailed deer.
I was laying on a hill. The hounds were going. My dad's kicking me in the feet. Wake up, wake up.
That sounds just like mine.
I woke up, that old pull-back hammer single shot. And guess what? She was my first deer,
There she lay.
and I'm gonna tell you that rest is history. We get a lot of opinions out there, but also we can argue about, do you like mayonnaise or do you like mustard?
That's right.
And so
single shot, were you shooting buckshot or slug?
20 gauge single shot.
Number 3 buckshot, I bet you.
Exactly.
That's exactly what mine was.
Still in my closet.
I remember going on those hunts and hearing those dogs getting closer and how excited you'd be, and all those old men with their CB radios in the trucks, and it was very thrilling. I loved it.
Breaker 19.
Just kind of getting back, like to the tribal lands, and we're obviously talking about wildlife management, and I often think we're big proponents of fire around here, and I often think when I'm burning, especially in the prairie, I'm like, I wonder, if the natives here used fire as a tool, or what the tools that they use to try to help increase the productivity of the land.
Well, I'm going to say that's going to be one area that I may not be up to date and literate of, but I own 80 acres of my own personal property. I love burning. I clear cut it. This past property is a former International paper. I bought it from RMS.
Yeah.
And my neighbors probably hate me
when
I did. But then, of course, the clear cutting, and I burned that slash this past summer. Mm-hmm. Ooh. For the first time, I had to have a little bit of help from Mississippi Department.
Another good story. Another good story.
And I'll tell you what, I've never had the whirlwinds of that come across. Well, they were whirlwinds.
Yeah. And fire tornadoes.
Fire tornadoes. Yep. I'll tell you, I can share a video with you later, guys. But I'm telling you, when it's throwing ashes 60, 75 yards away, you are one helpless person.
Yes, sir. So are y'all actively managing the timber and wildlife on
we
the
do. We do. In a lot of our lands, it's called into trust status with the United States government. So we work with the Department of Interior, the Bureau of Land Management, the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And so even now they bring in personnel that they will do control fires and try to control our woodlands. And of course, with the timber market the way it is, another avenue that we've taken is we started doing carbon credits. We inventoried all of our timber, and so that's been another avenue that we've been able to generate revenue for our people.
Great. That's great.
I want to ask you to go back and let's talk about some of the words that we find that have kind of been.
Oh yeah.
I guess I don't know what's.
They're all over Mississippi.
They're all over the country.
Yeah, they are.
They really are. And you had a unique way of pronouncing some of them, like Tuscaloosa for one. And could you kind of walk us through some of that?
Well, I mean, before state lines, that the territories went across into what is now current day Alabama. You got Moundville there with the mounds from our ancestors. But the Black Warrior River runs right there adjacent to Tuscaloosa. But Tuscaloosa is a English pronunciation. Tushka, warrior, Lusa, black. And of course, the English language is an opposite structure by most other languages. So your adjective noun structures, again, Tushka, warrior, Lusa, black. Quite ironic that you had the Black Warrior River there. And so, as I've stated, in speaking in the state of Alabama, on that side of the boundary of state lines, is Thomasville, Alabama. I talked about a while ago how we use natural hide to make strings for our stickball sticks. Stickball, we refer to it as the little brother of war. And if you've never watched a game of stickball, I encourage you to. If you love contact sports, you will love it. No padding, a lot of contact, a lot of lacerations, possibly broken bones, joint damages.
Wow.
It just comes with a contact sport. But with that, the little brother war was utilized for disputes, settling disputes. And so you had a battle of stickball in the Thomasville, Alabama area. There's a monument there. You can travel there and go take a look at it. That is the Creeks and the Choctaws had the dispute of territorial rights in which us, the Choctaw people, won.
You won the game.
That's right.
You won the ball game. How about that?
And
they thought the World Series was a big deal. That's awesome.
Pretty good.
I had never knew that. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
So, like Tom, Bigby.
Tom Bigby.
You were explaining the pronunciation of it.
Tombe, Igby. Tombe is casket. Igby is built. So casket makers.
How about that?
Yeah.
And then Tibby, if you don't mind.
Or it could be Itibi. It could be fight. So you may have say Tibby water. It could have been Itibi warrior, mean fighting waters.
Fighting water.
So in there,
Oka
right? Yeah.
is water. Itibi.
Okeechobee.
Oktibi.
Okeechobee is the lake, but then it's Oktibbeha County. So if I remember right, looking for cool names for stuff, I just Googled, and there's a published dictionary, right,
That is correct.
of Choctaw language. So you can find the parallel word to what we use there too. It's very, and I probably 30, 45 minutes looking, and I could have just looked up stuff all day. It was just so cool.
So is the language similar to, for example, the Chickasaws or Creeks?
You'll find a lot of similarities within the Chickasaws and the Choctaws.
Okay.
You look back in history, it's saying Choctaw is our language, translating to Choctaw, or Chickasha. And history stories tell it that Chickasha and Choctaw were brothers. And so there's a lot of similarities in our language, that they were our brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And so, they were just, again, their territorial lines were just north of here, just north of Columbus.
Does the word Mississippi have a unique meaning? When I think about, like the
Gotta be
Mississippi
Long River.
It's,
A big one.
Yeah.
And curvy one.
yeah.
Yes.
There's numerous words. Again, some of the native words may have had some English
Right.
adjustments to it, that it might have been a tribal word that we're not quite identifying what adjustment, influence that may have been had by the English speaking language. And so, we talked about others. Had I think Mac over there has some land over there in, as English says, Chula, Mississippi. Ours is Chula, means fox.
We need to remember that one.
Chola.
So I want to go back, if we could, and talk a little bit about the cultural importance of hunting back in the day. And I'm just making these conclusions in my mind that it was more for they were putting food on the table, not necessarily sport hunting. But what I'd just love for you to talk a little bit about what has been learned through archaeology about maybe some of the methods and the times of year and what all the when I look at that whitetail buck, would a buck with big antlers excited people back in the day, or would they have preferred to have had a doe, or do we even know those kind of questions?
Well, as far as just generation going back through my father, you didn't see the large rack bucks, and just to tell you a little bit about it, Europeans brought horses to America. And so ironically, when our people started seeing deer, that's our name is Issi, means deer. And then what we refer to Issi, and then a horse is Isuba.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
What Issi Hulba? What looks like deer. Issi Hulba means looks like deer. And so just to show you, when our ancestors started seeing horses, they were like, looks like a deer.
Yeah.
Well, so there was no horses weren't native to
That's correct.
North America. Wow.
They prominently, they were seeing more deer than then the horse. They said looks like a deer. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's another thing you talked about keeping alive. I just mentioned this, and we've talked about words of Chola and Issi and all. We still carry our Choctaw language. As a young person, I learned Choctaw language before I speak English.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, it's a challenge that we face, like anything of holding on to traditions. Today's modern conveniences of electronic devices. We know that.
It's going light speed right now.
Yeah, it is.
The days of living room, a family sitting in a living room, because, generations before, I mean, when we were growing up as children, you were lucky if you had one television in that living room.
Yeah.
And somebody had to go outside and turn the antenna or put some foil.
That's exactly right. Just turn the little dial and wait for it to tick over.
Exactly. And so, you don't have that family time and communication. And now everything's at the convenience of our palm and the device. Mm-hmm. And so the language is immensely been threatened. And so I'm very grateful at my generation that many of us, I would say 80+% of us at our age, in our generation, were Choctaw speakers before we were speaking English.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so that being said, living off the land, again, to be able to utilize what nature provides for us, again, was not a trophy. It was a necessity to be able, whatever season, applicable, to be able to go and collect and put food on the table.
Well, think about the depth of your quote unquote gamekeeping passion. For us, it's like I raised a 160. Oh my gosh! Or 10 turkeys gobbling on my place. It's more what for them. It was life itself.
Oh yeah.
Think about how much more deeply that runs, and like being sure to be mindful of not overdoing it, and managing it properly, or else.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there probably wasn't anything more life-giving than the white-tailed deer. If they were as abundant as I think they were probably a staple.
No, that is correct.
What about, were there any other, I'm asking to think back too far. I wonder, were there any other animals that are not in the Southeast? Did we have buffaloes down here?
No, we did not.
Never had them. So the main staple for a large animal probably was deer.
That's
wow.
correct.
How about that?
You know what? The white-tailed deer, you just got to be proud of them.
No.
I mean, they've almost went away, and
they're the king of, whatever wild game, too. They're the most adaptable thing just about in the world.
Well, this is we don't want to go off down the road, but I tell you, Lanny and I were talking about the other day, we all may be headed down in the direction of having too many deer.
Yeah, I've never seen the deer density this high.
I'm sure y'all are experiencing the same thing.
Oh, very much so. As Tossie mentioned earlier, we live in an era of the trophy. Mm-hmm. And so how many of hunters are passing up? Of course, it's all great, but when you pass up 100 does, that's going to be a problem later.
It is going to be a big problem.
I can promise you, we're not doing that.
Well, it's not a problem with my people, for sure. I love filling that freezer.
But you're right,
Well, we can, everybody's pretty much their limitations of how many deer. Some people don't eat that many deer. I wish more people did. Mm-hmm. But say, a lot of people, I hear the number 4 or 5. But I mean, and you kind of go, what am I going to do with them? I think that's incumbent upon all of us to find places like Jeff does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy, he kills 100 or 80 or some big number, and they go to the homeless.
Well, just
in Atlanta.
Just
yeah.
recently, though, when we were over there, they had collectively harvested about 80 deer and taken them to North Carolina to help the people up there.
Oh, that's a great
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
and he's not asking for any
No,
attention.
I mean, he's probably mad I
that.
mentioned it, but it's just a good example. He's a great example on so many things, but that one is another one,
It is.
Because you have that response. I've seen it get to. I grew up hunting in a place that was, we didn't know what we're doing. It was way overpopulated. They didn't think you should ever shoot a doe on top of that, and I saw the effects of that. It was devastating.
Speaking of Jeff Foxworthy, I came and watched him do a concert at y'all's facility down there.
He's been at Silver Star, yes.
And I stayed in the hotel. It was just a fantastic experience all the way around. Loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, if Marty Stewart comes back, you think you can hook us up with a couple tickets?
Well, I think Marty would be glad. Marty has been a good steward for Neshoba County and Philadelphia, and a great friend to the Choctaw people. And Marty's a great friend. We got the old Ellis Theater there. The old movie theater has been converted to the Congress of Country Music. And so we'd love to have you. I know Marty would too.
You'll have some great concerts.
Yeah, do.
So,
No
but,
doubt.
I think it's a great attribute with what we're doing at Choctaw with Perv Resort, Silver Star, Go to Moon, and the acts that we do. And then in town, again, with the old Ellis converts to the Congress Country Music. And it just intertwines into the community and, just trying to grow a small town, Neshoba County.
That's right.
No, you have grown. You have done it.
So, are you a turkey hunter?
I'm not an avid turkey hunter. Again, as I stated earlier, I used to spend a lot more time in the woods till I took upon this venture and this position.
Yeah, I think this
getting in the
job
way.
is.
Yeah, but what an escape when you can get out there.
Oh, definitely, and that's how it worked out. With you mentioned earlier about the elk hunt, it was that was a moment in my schedule that I can get away for a few days. And thankfully, technology, you can still sit on the side of that prairie or that landscape of land and sign some documents via iPad and turn around and fire off a gun and enjoy it.
That sounds like a great trip right
That does
there.
sound like a good trip. Pictures looked awesome.
Lanny, what do we need to be asking him?
You know, it's interesting, you know, the I guess the cultural importance of what your people have created, because it's funny listening to you and Toxie talk. Some of the keystones of the values for Mossy Oak are very similar, you know, to what you're talking about.
I'd be honored if they are. I'll say that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I really have a comment, but a question. But it's just really interesting to me, the reverence that growing up we have. I always imagined myself wanting to be like, what was this like 200 years ago, you know, or 300 years ago, or 400 years ago?
Sure.
And how can I mimic my actions after,
Yes.
you know, the culture that your people put down for us to follow? So I don't even know what I'm saying, but it's just a little observation.
I've used the term so many times when the archery bug bit me, and and then I finally, I guess I was in early 20s, and it was compound bows by then, but there was just that, I don't know, right words, connect. That's the word I feel like it was for me. The connection, feeling like I'm going back in time, like the really, sure enough, authentic American hunter did it. And and it's also not disturbing the woods. It's silent, just coming out of nowhere, don't disturb the woods much, I guess, unless your bow is real loud or something. There was just something so appealing about that. And so for 35 years, I didn't even go gun hunting at all. I'm getting old enough, I'm going to go a little bit now, but it really, really bit me hard, that archery bug.
Has it bitten you?
It did. And other day, I went and grabbed my bow, and of course, it was still 90 plus degrees.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
I checked it out in my garage, and I looked outside, and I'm like, it's okay.
Not quite yet. Yeah.
we're not going to shoot today, but no, definitely love. And as you stated, it's a certain component of it that you feel like, hey, advancement of compound bows, but at the same token, you have a traditional essence of also taming yourself. A gun can reach out multi-hundred yards, but when you get that bow, you're putting yourself on neutral ground. That you've got to be wise in everything you do, because those critters right there are very smart.
Okay, I'm gonna quote you. You just said a great one, taming yourself. That's a good one. So with your permission, I'm gonna borrow that from you.
Yeah,
and say that.
And you've said it often. You've said it my whole career here. It's with bow hunting. It's about how close you can get to
Yes,
nature.
that's right. We had the Winsels on last week. They're such pioneers in this. Sure. They still only hunt with. They're 80 years old. They only hunt with longbows.
And
they're amazing. But they said, and I said it before, so the listeners are going to hear it for like the third time. But I'll say it for you that the difference in archery and bow hunting is so cool. They pointed out archery's how far. How far can you be from the target and hit the bullseye? So it's about how far. Bow hunting is about how close you can get yourself to the critter. That's a very different and special thing to me, just being close to them.
Hey, Lanny.
Hey, Bobby.
Have you ever wondered if your feeder went off? Or if it's even got corn in it?
Yeah, you sit there at night wondering about it.
Moultrie has solved this. This is some high-tech stuff.
Fits on any feeder that helps monitor the level of feed and lets you know if it went off or not. And you can remotely control it.
Can I look at your feeder if we're on the hub?
I really hope not, but we're going to have to talk to the guys at Moultrie about that. This is the biggest thing in feeders since corn.
That's saying a lot.
With Feed Hub, there's no more stressing, no more guessing. This technology allows you to remotely monitor your feeders.
We always say feed safely, do it the right way.
No doubt about it.
To learn more about it, visit moultrieproducts.com/feedhub. It's a great invention.
Unbelievable technology and products brought to us by our buddies at Moultrie. Nosler is known for their bullets, and now they're making suppressors. Nosler suppressors are made for hunting. Adding a Nosler suppressor to your rifle will make you a quieter, more accurate, and more effective hunter. Protect your hearing and disturb less game with a Nosler suppressor. The time to hunt quiet is now. Learn more at nosler.com.
We had a gamekeeper office archery tournament here this past week.
Oh, we did.
Here we go.
And Toxie didn't show up.
Yeah.
He was invited, but he didn't show up.
I didn't want to, y'all would have hated me. Y'all would have hated me,
Yeah. Guess who won? Who's bringing
The
it
guy
up?
that put the tournament
Yeah,
on.
the
No
guy that
way.
marked the
No
yardage
way.
mark, yeah.
You're invited next year when we do this. We'd love to have you.
I think we need to throw the yellow flag and do the instant replay and check it out and make sure.
Well, let's invite Cuz down here. I'd
No,
like
you
to
don't
get-
want him here.
I've told him he doesn't want
You
him
don't
here.
want Cuz. He'll take money every time.
We've gotten really. We have. Lanny said this morning. We got some new bows. We all got some of these new Gamekeeper Bear bows, and we got a target out back. And now all of a sudden, we're just
Reinvigorated.
remembering how much fun shooting a bow
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
It really kind of takes your mind off. I worry about Dudley all the time, but I can go out there and shoot.
Well,
and
you
I-
have to
I
turn
forget about
everything into a
Dudley.
competition, you know. So.
Well, turn everything into unproductive office time. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's
We were sharpening the saw boss. We're sharpening
right.
the saw
Right.
boss.
Sure.
Or, excuse me, we're sharpening the broadhead. There we go.
yeah. The whole sharpening the axe story. That's exactly what we were.
Research and development.
So, Chief,
Truth
what
in
should we be
advertising.
asking you? What did you think when you were driving up here, security all around you? What were you thinking? These guys are surely going to ask me about this. What?
It was I was just awed an opportunity. Growing up, donning the mossy oak clothing, and
Thank you.
flipping on the hunting channel, saying, hey, one day maybe I can be a part of being that moment of
Man.
taking games. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come here, and then also to share just a glimpse of our people. We can sit here and talk all day long. There's so much more, from our traditions and culture. And I spoke a little bit of our tribal language, but I'd like to say in the middle of summer, nice and hot, come sweat with us in the middle of July, second week of July. Our traditional sport is played. We do have usually good country music acts or other artisan genres. But again, there's basket making, beadwork, social dancing.
Wow.
But at the same token, it's a good old country fair as well. I know Neshoba County Fair gets a lot of notoriety. We got a pretty nice fair ourselves for the first 2 weeks of July.
Mm-hmm.
Does that include like an exhibition type stickball game?
It goes beyond exhibition. We do have some
It's the real
exhibition.
deal.
You see the
the
look
real
on
deal.
his face?
Hey, you know what his nickname
Y'all
is?
don't ever play around.
Yeah.
Did you see the look on his face, Dudley, when
Yeah.
you said exhibition? It was like, what?
I think he got that name from stickball. I mean,
Yeah. So
Maybe
so
a
what is
little
this?
more kid friendly.
What's your nickname?
It's bull.
Hey.
Hey, he built like one.
I'll say this. We've done about 280 of these podcasts, and there's only been a couple of times when I've thought, if this goes sideways, I believe Lanny can take most of the guests. But today, I said, this one can't go sideways because there's not enough people in the room to slow him down.
Well, it doesn't matter. All he's got to do is wink, and he's got him over there.
You're a big guy. And I mean it like you look like you could play for the Green Bay Packers.
Hell, yeah, I didn't have quite that much talent. Had to go to school and go to work.
I think he wants to arm wrestle you for one of those bare bows.
Now you do have a kid who plays football, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a freshman in college.
That's great.
Unfortunately, preseason he tore his ACL, so he's in the rehab process. But get a medical red shirt, he's gonna be all right.
There you go.
Extra year.
I wanna hit on. Is there any kind of recipe that is in your family that you like to cook that we may not know about?
No, it's like grandma's old cooking, a little bit of this and a little bit of
Okay.
that.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you talk about cooking and talk about venison. Who knows? I know most of the people probably listen to this podcast are outdoorsmen that enjoys their venison. But I got to tell a story. And then, of course, I got probably numerous I could tell of instances. But one in particular, I had my wife's stepdad. He would just staunchly say, "I don't eat venison."
Oh yeah.
And but
I've got those.
But I'd fire up the grill, send them over there some nice juicy burgers, and unfortunately, we lost him. He went to his grave never knowing he enjoyed some deer burgers.
Well, good for you, because now he knows.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nah, he may haunt me now.
Yeah.
But no. Again, it's just understanding of it. There's so many people that they have that stigma, and people have given them horror stories. But again, not only from a cultural standpoint that our people lived off of the outdoors and wild game and fish and whatever was provided. But it's like anything. You can go get you a pack of meat from the best butcher in town, and if you don't prepare it right,
That's right.
That's right.
100%. Or take care of it in the field the proper way.
that's right. So
Is your son a hunter?
he is.
You got a lot of memories of him of showing him the outdoors.
Oh, we have, and I'm gonna tell you the memory of him going hunting by himself the first time.
Oh wow!
Actually, I thought was bad. It was a scary moment. I made sure I hunted within I'd say 500 yards of him, and of course we're living in the era of text messaging. Shooting him a text message, no response.
Because you heard him shoot?
Well, then no, and then finally heard the shot.
Right, okay.
Now I'm really going into panic mode because I'm calling.
Right.
He wouldn't even answer then.
And it was a deer.
And then finally he texts back, "Big buck."
Got him.
He was sound asleep and woke up and a buck's right in front of him.
Wow.
So that is
Like father, like son. I mean,
now I'm gonna tell you, he's like his grandfather. My dad has pulled one of those moments as well.
Yeah.
So or he said, "I didn't see a thing," and I go pull the camera and I'm like, "You were sitting there when this picture was made."
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richie falls asleep sometimes.
sometimes.
During the podcast.
Only when he's breathing.
Not today's podcast, though.
Are there any annual hunting events that y'all do together as a band? Or?
Well, one is a cultural hunt with rabbits.
Oh,
now
cool.
we do use beagles.
Yeah.
We do dogs, but I wish I'd have brought it. I had a couple in my office.
Yeah.
But the stick that we use for our stick ball sticks is hickory. I'll say osakapi. In our language, but using a hickory stick, usually anywhere from the range of, it depends on what age is using it, but 14 to 18 inches long. What you do is you'd shave that hickory stick. That's probably a diameter, I don't know, a little bit over an inch, and leaving about 4 to 6 inches on top, like a club.
Wow!
But you would shave the rest down for your handle. And that's all you carry. Most people carry 2 sticks, one in each hand, and let the hounds loose. And that stick is all your weapon is.
You throwing it.
You're throwing it.
Can you throw a stick pretty accurate?
I wouldn't say accurate, but I'd say I can throw it.
I bet he can throw it hard.
But that being said, I've been lucky. Well, it was one time we had one of those traditional hunts every year in the spring. We gather all the youth and have a huge youth hunt. And one come across open pasture. It was probably 25 yards out. And of course, I'm just leading and just chunked it. Lord behold, I hit it. I'm talking about cold.
Did you have some witnesses watching?
I did, and them.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you, them kids thought I was a superhero.
I bet they did.
Yeah, I bet you
I
would.
would too. I do.
What's the big? What's the big deal? I do that all the time.
Of course, that's exactly what I did. I was like, boy, I see that. It's nothing but a thing. No, it's fun times. But the great outdoors.
Yes.
So many memories can be made, and so it is a challenging way to hunt.
Yeah.
As we talked about, you challenge yourself whether it goes using a bow and stuff. So put them on neutral ground sometime, and a lot of great outdoors to let them have their competitive edge over you.
Yeah.
And
It's just more. We're all in the same boat. It's more important than ever to get kids grounded.
That's right.
In the outdoors. It's the only thing that's the common medium in today's, I sat there this morning and watched this guy, one of the guys that founded Google, talking about AI and where things are headed. And it's so scary.
Oh yeah.
And the only it's the only antibiotic or antivenom or whatever is God's nature. Mm-hmm. And so, bringing the kids up connected to that gives them a shot. Without it, I'm not so sure anymore, honestly. So many 100%. Bad electronic influences on them today.
Well, and it's an era of not really knowing what's real. The only real thing is,
Well, when you're raised, and that's kind of your foundation before you start into the phones and stuff, they're going to start into them anyway. Unless you're kidding yourself.
It's part of culture.
So then at least you got a foundation of things that are the most real and connective that you have.
I know my kids are sick of hearing me talk about it.
I bet.
Dudley, you got another question?
No, I was just thinking along the lines of what we were talking about and how it does seem to be a little bit more difficult to get youth outside. It doesn't seem like there's quite as much opportunity out there as there used to be, and it's a little bit more difficult to get out there.
It's like it was your son and you. So you had that relationship. You're his hero. I mean, I know that by just watching how you talk and seeing all of this. So everybody's got somebody. Every kid's got somebody, even if it's not his own parents don't hunt. I know we're preaching to the choir. Most of the people listen to this.
Well, we need to be sure there's
it just hit me lately, and then having them here really hits me hard because their traditions are so awesome that we need to be really mindful. I use that word, mindful of connecting the kids today with nature, or else.
Yeah, I remember how that hunter safety course just seems so easy to me, and a lot of kids these days, they see that and it's kind of daunting. It's a struggle to get through that. And so I
you can
hope
take it
we
many
can,
times as you want. I mean, it's not
I hope we can, get back to where a lot of these youth already know hunter safety before they even take the course, because, some figure has taken them out. And,
well, that's how we were introduced, and we've got to be sure to foster that introduction for other people. That's true.
That's got to be a big part of just who you guys are. And you're pulled in so many different directions, but just the little bit that we've had you here to learn about you, we can tell you've got a soft spot in your heart for kids and the outdoors and going through whatever you've got to do to be able to create those opportunities.
It was given to me and others, and probably everybody in this room, is that there was somebody older than us that took time, whether it was parents, grandparents, and somebody just introduced you to the great outdoors. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's introducing you to good things in life.
Yeah.
There's so many threats in society that wants to take you down the wrong avenue, and I mean, of course, you got the unfortunate side. Some people that don't abide by rules of being good stewards of outdoorsmen, but and sometimes that gives us that do a bad name. But at the same token, that somebody took that time and shown us, and hopefully that in due time of my life that I've given enough to pass on some good things in life.
No question.
Well, Chief Cyrus Ben, I'm going to say that your constituency down there got it right.
Oh, big time.
Electing you as the
big
chief.
Time.
Yeah. It sometimes, I'm still a husband. I'm still a son to my parents, a brother to my sister, and brother as well. I've got my siblings that we've grown up outdoors. We got to enjoy that, and it's nothing like being able to come together. But then the community. One attribute about it, of course, we didn't have wild hogs as prevalent as today, but in the past we talked about how some attributes of family life, but some practice of the community. Many times you talk about what Jeff Foxworth is doing, being a good Samaritan and doing a food bank and providing to others. It's not kept up, but it reminded me this past weekend, one of our tribal families that they gather, they would go get a hog and have a huge hog killing. And again, they would cook and separate in the whole family and community. But the one attribute about it of not only keeping that activity alive, but to look across in the images that were shared on social media is how many young people, and they immersed them into that moment.
Yes.
And so again, if we don't teach, or if we don't protect the gamekeeper, if we don't keep these things exposed and passed down to knowledge, we don't want that to get lost. And so I think it intertwines in every facet of life, whether it's us, talking about the outdoors, or else just the good things of life. And so,
Well, you're further making my point. They got it right when they elected you.
Yes, 100%.
In fact, you're such a good guy that I would offer my services as a turkey hunting guy.
Oh, here we go.
This next spring, if you,
Here it is, Doc.
Well, at least I warned you right up front. We weren't maybe 45 seconds into this, and I prepared you for what was coming at least.
well,
He never misses an opportunity.
We call it here the agenda.
this has been interesting. I'm going to look around one more time. Is there anything else we need to ask? Because we always close these out, and I go, boy, I wish I'd
should
asked
have
that.
asked
We'll just do it again.
Yeah. But what about? Is there anything else you want to communicate?
hey, we talked about it. You brought up the question of what traditional hunting. The only traditional hunting like that is with the rabbit stick. A little challenging hunting. You can get a 20 gauge, 410 and 12, whatever, and you go out there and bag a bunch of rabbits. But when you put sticks in their hands, it's going to be quite a challenge.
That's amazing.
But I'm going to tell you, we were challenged with heavily dense rabbit populated lands. So if there's anybody ever out there that has some good rabbit hunting land that you want to be exposed to, hey, we'll bring the sticks and we'll all have fun together.
Hey, that would be cool.
It really would be.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Me neither.
Happen. Is that?
I was going to ask. They let
y'all ever
Richie
film
film
that?
it. Yeah.
We
Look
do.
at Richie.
One of the last filmings was Mississippi Wildlife. Was it Mississippi Outdoors?
Yeah.
And they done some filming before years ago in the 90s. And so that's the last filming that I know documentary.
We need to find some rabbits.
Yeah.
Get this thing
That'd be
going
a lot
on.
of fun.
Yeah.
So I've got another question. So you're here in Mississippi, but there are other tribes. I mean, like I grew up in Montgomery, and there was the Creek Indian Nation was there, and so, and then Oklahoma. It seemed like that's just. You were telling us at lunch.
Yeah, tell us the Oklahoma story.
That story.
Well, the again, we go to many centuries ago where a lot of this land was all our nation. It was our territories. Then the United States had some governmental action of the Indian Removal Act. Today's curriculum identifies it as a Trail of Tears. It was a Trail of Tears, a lot of tears shed, but it was also genocide. If we gave a directive to somebody to remove these from this land, that was to remove us, and that was our ancestors. And unfortunately, many got removed and west, and what is now the Trail of Tears that led to what is now common day, the state of Oklahoma, and other tribes as well, the Creeks, the Seminoles, the Cherokees. And so there are sovereign recognized tribes in the state of Oklahoma now. But what you see us, the remnants of who is in Mississippi currently, the Mississippi and Choctaw Indians, was what we were given the federal recognition of.
Are you comfortable telling us about the Oklahoma?
I don't mind. I'll get
The
to
name?
it.
Yeah, okay.
So with us being the only federal recognized tribe here in Mississippi today, we're not the only Choctaws. There's 574 federally recognized tribes across the United States.
Wow.
With that, 3 of those is of Choctaw descent. In Oklahoma is Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, but in the state of Louisiana is also the Gina Band of Choctaw Indians, who was a part of some of our ancestors that was removed and pushed west. And so the ancestry of what is left here in Mississippi is Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, where again in 1945 that we got the recognition, where I consider us, we were the resilient, unconquered people that were not captured and removed. And so, and does that demean any of our brothers and sisters that were moved west? No. It's just a history and of it. And just to share a little story, we talked about Tuscaloosa, we talked about Chula, the city of the county seat of where we are, Neshoba. It's actually Neshoba means wolf. And so all of this in many towns, creeks, states. Who would have thought a state was named in the Choctaw language? Ogla means people. Homa means red.
Oklahoma,
And that
red people.
that it is translated to be red people.
That's pretty stunning.
Yeah, that is stunning.
Your people, it's somehow managed to hang on here in this part of Mississippi. And what do you know? Can you tell us just briefly what helped them?
It was just the swamps. We went into the swamps, what is now the headwaters of the Pearl River. And so that's where the saturation of many of our people were. And so, maybe you go down to South Mississippi and the Pearl River is a pretty wide river, but the tributaries and the headwaters, and actually our Nunawaya Mound is right there at the Winston-Neshoba County line. Once was a state park, but we're very grateful now. It was returned to, after the state park closed, it returned back to the landowners, and we were very grateful to be that we had the landowners return it back to us as the original landowners. So the Nunawaya Mound is back in our possession.
That's awesome.
That's a big, beautiful mound too. And so there were in Tennessee and North Carolina, there were Cherokees there
That is correct.
that hid out.
And of course, you kind of look at the geographical locations of where the Choctaws, again, we're here in the swamp of the headwaters of the Pearl River. You have the Cherokees were up in the mountains. So they even do a play there. So if you ever travel through there, they have a beautiful play that they do onto these hills. So it's kind of ironic that they hid up into these hills. And then you got the Seminoles and Miccosukee in South Florida that hid into the Everglades.
Is that like Big Cypress?
That is
down
correct. Yes.
So y'all hid in the swamps.
That's correct.
So they would be bottomland folks. Big time. How about that? Our first mossy oak pattern ever, bottomland.
Okay.
It's almost like an alignment right there, because I am a bottom person.
So we're going to have to get some fabric, and I'm going to get a Choctaw shirt and bottomland camo.
Hey.
We can
We can
have
make that happen.
That's a done deal.
There we go.
And so
You were talking to the right person.
Toxie grew up hunting in the Mobile Delta, and you were telling me that there was some that's moved down into that world.
Alabama River Delta, actually.
That is the Creeks. Current, they got their federal recognition in the name of the Porch Band, the Creek Indians, down there in Atmore.
Yeah.
Atmore, yeah.
And
Yeah, that's over to the east more.
And I'd always heard all my life growing up in Alabama that there was a really big community down along the Alabama River somewhere. I don't know that it was ever located or found.
I think they found it.
Is that just
that was oh gosh, I think what's the name, Dudley? We talked about it with the.
Are you talking about some of the
Just down south of Demopolis? They're pretty sure they found it.
the Hernando of Soto stuff?
Yeah. I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, there's supposedly
There's a lot of history.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
There is a lot of history. And I think
Across the
some of it
nation,
we just
especially
don't really
Mississippi.
know.
How far south do you think that were you in those days in your largest tribal boundary? How far south did it go, like in Alabama, you think?
I don't know all the names of the townships, but the Thomasville region.
Yeah. So north of Thomasville.
Right.
Okay. My home away from home was Sumter County, so that's north of Thomasville. But
And if you go to,
That's all our.
and I've been to the Library of Congress in D.C. and in the maps there that says Choctaw Nation, it refers to Choctaw Nation as a whole because it was before us being divided. We had territories almost all the way across Alabama to what is current Alabama-Georgia state line. So it spread across that vast area.
It's a very long period of time all this happened. So I'm sure there was a lot of change and moving around.
Well, Chief Cyrus Ben, I've thoroughly enjoyed meeting you.
Yes.
And just so impressed with this everything that you're talking about. Y'all have got going on. What you've got going on, and like I said, they got it right.
Well, we'd love to have you not just from my what glimpse I've been able to share with you guys. Come visit us. We're not far away.
No.
Come to Choctaw, Mississippi. And like I said, we're at our annual fair. Kind of gives you the caveat of the culture, but bring your family so you can have family fun as well. But anytime, come out and visit us. We'd love to show you our cultural center. But of course, we also have economical activity too, of resort activities. If you're a golfer, if you've got children, come to the water park in the summertime, or adult gaming on the gaming floor, or restaurants, whatever it might be. We'd love to have you and just share our culture and share a story of who we are. And and many people think of, they're just a culture center. No, we're modernized economically too. We have enterprises. We do construction enterprise with federal contracting. We do commercial laundry that provides for our hotels, all the way to the Westin Hotel in Jackson, numerous medical facilities throughout the state. And then even we run a 120-bed nursing home. And so we're very diverse in our portfolio, and we're very proud that we run the largest single district tribally operated school in the U.S. under the Bureau of Indian Education.
Nice.
And the first high school, middle school was built in 1963, and we're in the middle of a construction. So we've got a beautiful high school underway for future generations that we and provide them the resources, and hopefully, who knows, in the future there'll be another young man or woman sitting right here in my position that will hopefully they'll continue to torch.
All right. Yeah.
I got one question here real quick. So, real quick. So, being that after lunch and getting to know Bobby a little bit today, what would be a good Choctaw name for him?
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
So with that, you love to hunt. You since you're the moderator here today,
The MC.
it's going to be Awata Machugma. Loves to hunt.
Awata. How you say that again?
Awata
Awata.
Machugma.
Ooh, yeah.
What he said.
You know how I am about pronouncing
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, you're going to tear that one up.
I'll never get that. Well, thank you for that.
We're going to get
name.
him a T-shirt made with that on the back.
Yep.
That's cool stuff.
A little tongue
It really
twister.
Yeah, it is. This has been a lot of fun. I want to thank
Lots
Jim
of
for
fun.
helping set this up. Jason is over there. I hadn't said a word, but we're in
He over there handling business.
He is the deer killing guy in the group.
Oh, yes.
That's what my understanding is.
He's got the trophies.
The silent assassin.
Yeah. He is what is his title?
He's our chief of staff.
Chief of Staff. Would he have the number 2 tag?
Oh, yeah.
He actually drives it.
All right.
How about that?
Now he's going to ask, can he take me turkey hunting?
Yeah, Jason, if you need to go, just holler. So. All right, guys, this has been fun. It's been eye-opening, and
Yeah. And hopefully we can have some links in the show notes to the Choctaw Fair and everything else that's going on down there, so people can learn more.
And we have our website as well, www.choctaw.org.
Oh, great.
And so, come and visit us.
Yeah.
Toxie said it at the beginning when he respect. That's what we
my
have
gosh.
for you guys. Yeah, we
Yeah,
really do.
and I mean, well, I don't have the right words. I'm just trying to, words are just pointers anyway. But just the pride I have in the job that your last couple of generations have done to take what has been at least granted you and done honor to it and been smart with the business and provided a resource, a place to go visit, to honor. I mean, it's just been a great thing, and I wish for you that it continue. I hope that you can purchase and put together more lands and pieces to go with it, because you've done great things for the state of Mississippi on top of that. Yes. So
yeah, proud of you.
Yeah, I guess that's the right word. There's, pride's one of the 7 deadly sins, but the right kind of pride.
That's right.
Not selfish pride.
That's right.
Well, I think each and every one of us, we're proud to be outdoorsmen. We're proud to be a Mississippian. We'd like to share a little story in the new state flag. As you know, the 20th state into the Union is shown through the 20 white stars on that flag. But above, in between those 20 white stars, is a larger gold star that is indicating the first Mississippians, and that is the native territory that it was before statehood.
How about that?
Well, how
Excellent.
cool is that?
Yeah, so this is the new Mississippi flag.
This is the new Mississippi flag. The centerpiece is the magnolia flower. So there's 20 total white stars, 10 to the left, 10 to the right. But above the magnolia flower is the 5-point gold star, because in gold, we seek the goal in the first place. So we are the first Mississippians. I actually was thankful for the opportunity that the tribe had a seat at the table, and I served on the Flag Commission. And then through the design of it, we were able to incorporate that as symbolism of the first Mississippians being native territory.
That is awesome.
Get the horns, yeah, big
There we
time.
go.
We should.
Chill bumps on that one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
We should, and that's where we could have, but we should, whatever, post it on. We got a huge following on social media and stuff. We ought to just point that out, and good for our state to do
Yes,
it too.
yes, that's exactly
You know,
right.
that's awesome.
Yep. All right, guys. Look, I want to say, just verbally, I hadn't said this in a long time. We sure appreciate everybody listening.
Yeah.
We've got the winter issues about to come out of the new Gamekeeper magazine.
Hot
TV
off the
shows
press.
on Tuesday nights, Richie, and then. But we appreciate y'all listening to our podcast, and we're so fortunate to have guests like you come travel up here and sit down on the couch and talk to us. And you're just a great guy. You got a twinkle in your eyes. You've got a great future ahead of you, and we're glad to.
Big word today. Big word everywhere. And you've heard me say it a bunch. So it's one thing to call it out. Everybody says this word, but rarely are they actually this word. But he is authentic, and that's a big deal. And he's not authentic because he's trying to be. He just is. So I just want to call that out for everybody too.
Well,
Totally.
Well, Tassi, I want to also say thank you for the authentic testimony in Mossy Oak and just what you've done for the outdoors industry, and to your family and all the team of Mossy Oak and Gamekeepers. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come join you today and share just a little bit about us, and definitely had a great time joining you today.
Great.
Awesome. As a small thank you, there's a companion's coat sitting right there in your size.
Hot off the press.
That thing's got a lot of X's in it. I'm just going to have to tell you.
It's going to need it.
Oh, my
Reminds me of a story I'll tell
That
you.
is a great story. I was wanting you to tell that
I'll
story.
tell you one about my buddy. He's passed away, Mr. Jerry Clower. When we get off air, though.
What a blessing. You got to hunt with him. That's awesome.
First turkey.
Yeah. Wow.
I told you wasn't dealing with no novice.
All right. Chief Cyrus Ben, thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Why don't you say goodbye, Dudley?
Goodbye, Dudley.
Get us out of here, Richie.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gamekeeper Podcast, and be sure to tune in again. Subscribe to Gamekeeper Farming for Wildlife magazine, and don't miss the Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt podcast with my good buddy, Ronnie Cuz Strickland.